Greetings and welcome, everybody. Everyone has joined us, and you may be live in the chat, in which case you can join us as well. But let's do what we normally do on Hit Miss Maybe and find out who we've got, where they are, and what they're wearing. So, first up, Ripley. Where are you and what you're wearing?
Still in Los Angeles, wearing the Titoni Zero 2 Ceramatech. There's a full review on this on the blog to watch. So if you want to learn more, check it out.
Excellent. David, where are you, what you're wearing, and why have you not got a stone wall behind you like Ripley has?
I do have one, but it's under construction still. It's in the man cave. Yeah, I'm in Budapest, and in my mind, I'm wearing this amazing Saxem Hublot that we just talked about recently.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so after having promised us last week that there was going to be some wristwatch action
hmm
on the wrist, you've actually failed this week and there's none.
No, it's a slow process. I'm
Slow
getting there.
process.
It's
You're
like just projecting
build,
first. Next week,
building
it's
up
gonna
to
be on my wrist. Just watch.
Leslie. Leslie, where are you and what are you wearing?
I'm in Dublin and I'm wearing something I suspect you don't know, possibly. It's a 47 which is an Irish-made micro brand made by a friend of mine in Annecy. ETA movement. He stamps out the dials. Interesting story. I'll tell you about it sometime.
Excellent. Matt, new to the show, but not new to me. Where are you and what are you wearing?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm from sunny Bedfordshire today, and today I'm wearing the Nodus Canyon in mint green, which I
Ah,
helped work on with the Le Jeu Perret movement inside that one.
very nice indeed. Will, what one of your chateaus are you in today and what are you wearing?
I'm still in Kent at the moment, but
Chateau de Kent.
Chateau de Kent. This morning I'm wearing I think it's a 36 mil HMT, which is an Indian watch
Mhm.
brand, which started in about 1960 odd, and this is one of the watches they give to the Indian military, which was very cool. But I got it extremely cheaply online. But it's a really cool watch, and the loom could light a room. It's amazing. Yeah.
Great stuff. And Kevin, from your cave, where are you? What are you wearing?
Morning, everybody. I'm in sunny, well, hopefully sunny Kent by the coast. I'm wearing today the Grand Seiko SBGA 407, more commonly known as a Skyflake. Love it, absolutely love it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's crack on with the watches we're going to be looking at. And we're going small and dainty because there are some, although Simon's not here, there are some small and dainty wrists among this crew. I'm not going to name names, but let's see what they think of these. They're naming their own names, so Ripley basically. So let's see what everybody thinks of this first one, which is the Vacheron Constantin self-winding 34.5 mil watch. You can see it here in nice gold. You've got, I mean, it does look just like as you would expect a small Vacheron Constantin overseas, but it's only 34 mil. I am not personally sure that this needs to exist in the world, but let's see what you all think. So, on the count of three, give us your hit, your miss, or your maybe. One, two, three, go. Okay, we have one, two, three, four hits, five hits, a miss, and a maybe. So let's take it away. Ripley, why is this a hit?
So for integrated bracelet watches, I like them small. I've got small wrists, but I think they should be smaller on people's wrists. A smaller watch, you get more bracelet. If you're getting an integrated bracelet watch, you want that bracelet, more bracelet. That's what you're looking for. So for anyone who can't wear the full size one, having a smaller watch and in even a size that seems a little bit smaller than you normally go for, if you normally wore 36, 37, what have you, this is a bit smaller. You're going to get more bracelet on the wrist. You get to see more bracelet on the top of the wrist. All makes sense. Now, why it's a hit is because they didn't just like shrink it and pink it and make the overtly feminine versions of these watches. They basically made the same watches that existed in the larger sizes, just smaller. And that's literally what everyone just wants with these smaller watches. Like, don't give me a mother of pearl dial with diamonds. I just want the same thing, just smaller. Both men and women say that, not ever. And so the fact that they did that is great. So yeah, it's a hit for me. I like the big ones. These ones are smaller. They'd probably fit my wrist better. So definitely a hit.
David, why is it a hit for you?
Nice proportions and execution on a smaller model, and that's not always the case. It's not always something that we see. Sometimes when what happens is they make it smaller and then you lose some details. Oh, because there's not enough space for it or not enough material to work with or whatever else. And here I don't feel like we've come shortchanged in any way.
Good stuff. Leslie, how did you vote?
Yeah, hit much the same. I'm fine with 35. I wear 35 millimeter watches. And it's going to sound strange to you, Rick, but I've got some old vintage pieces from the 60s and 70s that are that size, and they look good on my wrist. You know, and they suit a sort of more dress aesthetic, and I think you could absolutely wear this with anything. And as has been said, the proportions are perfect. There's some nice finishing on the reverse there on the movement, which I quite liked. And yeah, no, I'd absolutely wear this. I'm not sure I want to pay 52,000 for the gold version, though. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
Matt, your first vote, and it was a hit for this.
It was a hit, yeah. So I happen to know somebody who has the steel version. I've tried it on myself and seen it in the metal. So it is, like others have said, there's not being shrunk and shrinked and pinked, if however you want to, whatever the past tense of that is. And so, but the proportions are slightly amended for it. They haven't just reduced it in every single dimension. The bezel is slightly thinner. Oh, slightly thicker on this than the larger size, and the gold one is a hell of a piece, and I've held the full weighted version of the larger size, and it's incredible. It feels like wearing some sort of tungsten armor on your wrist. But no, this one is a hit for me. Big hit.
Good stuff. Will, your thoughts?
Yes, I said it was a hit as well. I like the fact that it is just a smaller version of the main watch, so it's kind of concentrated down. And I think I would almost dare to say it works better when it's smaller. Having tried on the larger one, it's a bit too big for me. And agree with Leslie about vintage watches. Just the beauty of a smaller vintage dress watch is really nice. So to see a dress watch like this, which is, or a watch like this, which is smaller, it looks great. So yeah, and I think this is obviously going to be the trend going forward if it's not already, as we move away from giant watches.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We just recorded a section for Roman and the Gloman talking about most overused phrases. I'm adding to that vintage inspired in terms of overused phrases in the watch industry. Kevin, you almost agreed with me and gave this a maybe.
Yes, I did. I do like the design. I mean, I'm a great fan of the overseas, but the fact that it's too small for me, that's why it's a maybe. It's a beautiful piece, and they'll sell loads of them if you can get one, of course, and it will be twice the price of the secondary market. But yeah, it's just the only reason it's just too small for me. That particular piece.
I gave this a miss. I'm sorry. You're all wrong. Nobody needs a 34.5 millimeter Vacheron overseas. 38, 36, maybe, but 34 and a half for that price for 52 grand. Somebody needs to do the maths of how much watch you're getting per millimeter. But I'll bet you the margin's
Rick,
bigger in a 34
You
mil
just
than it
want
is
an
in a.
Invicta, Rick.
Yeah, Rick, if case diameter for dollar spent, I've got a U-boat for you, my friend.
That's the weirdest metric ever.
I think it's a perfectly reasonable new metric to introduce. I just don't see anybody going in and going, yeah, I want to spend 52 grand on this while it's sitting next to the full size one, which is probably roughly the same price. Going, why am I paying that? You want more stuff, not less stuff, but maybe I'm just a big wristed Panerai wearing thug. But there we go. Anyway, right. Next up is going to be, because this is the small watch show now. Next up is going to be this from Tag Heuer. The Tag Heuer Carrera date 36mm PLasma Diamante d'Avant Garde watch. I'll get rid of some of those words for a starter. Tag. But you can see what this is. Very clear. It's got diamonds and it's a small tag. So if that doesn't give you all the information you need in order to cast a fair and reasonable and transparent vote, I don't know what is. So is this a hit, a miss, or a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. We have, oh, it's quite a lot of maybes. One, two, three, four, five maybes, one hit. Yeah, you can tell he's not done this show before. In fact, what's that from you, Leslie? Is that a miss and a miss from Leslie? So let's deal with some maybes. First of all, Ripley, why is this a maybe?
I like what they're doing with these like plasma diamond riddled watches. I'd love to see it in person to see. It's all about the colors on these. So they did a pink one last year. Now they're doing a yellow one. They're showing that they can do different colors of diamonds. They're all lab done. That's why the whole winding crown is one big diamond. I need to see it in person before I can make a final judgment. If it's all about the color of this yellow, let's see how this color of yellow is. I want to see it in person before I'll make a word on it. The one thing I do wish was different, give me some yellow baguettes on the hour markers. Like, what is that? Like, I feel like they just copped out of that. Like, it's right there. Like, yeah, put more yellow diamonds on. The fact that they only put two feels a little bit weak, but you know, I reserve my final judgment till I see it in the metal. The fact that they're doing this with diamond in general is cool to me. So it's a maybe, you know.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Leslie.
I'm over the diamond thing. I'm sorry, and diamonds are not they're not rare. They are not rare. Read that book, Stoned. I forget her name, but it's a brilliant book. There is millions and millions of diamonds. They're charging 100,000 for this. They should be using lab-grown ones, more ethically viable. Maybe they are. I don't know. Who knows? I just don't like the look of it. I don't like. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want diamonds in my watch. I don't want to pay 100,000 euros. No, or dollars, whatever. No,
no, and no. We can get you a double miss sign next week. You can have a sign, just put miss on it. Matt, the hit.
Yeah, I didn't want to sit on the fence in this. I wanted to feel like I committed either way. And I was more in the hit.
Take some advice from that. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be committed, okay?
and I was more in the hit side of the fence than the miss side. I felt so I leant that way. And the reason I think, price aside, it's 100 grand. Very few people are going to be spending that amount of money on it. But for the design alone and the use of they are lab grown diamonds on all the aspects of it. I remember the full black one with the sort of, it looked like someone had filled a shotgun with lab diamonds and fired it at the case of the black one. That was it last year or the year before?
Last year, I think.
Of that model, and I thought, actually, it's doing something different. I like the aesthetic. I love the diamond crusted dial, and I actually like the single yellow diamond shield of the tag logo in the center. So my hit is purely based on aesthetics and nothing to do with value or price. And they're going to be extremely limited, probably making probably less than 10 a year, I should think. So for that reason, the price is almost a redundant factor.
Will?
I liked the use of the lab grown diamonds, which I think is more ethically better. I said maybe because the design I'm not so sure about. Part of me wants to think that it's quite interesting, and the other part of me thinks it looks a little bit like I'm going to say a mall watch, but something that would come on the front of a bright pink magazine that my 6-year-old would be attracted to in a shop, which is just ultimately destroying it. Yes, so perhaps there's a little bit too much diamond in there, but it's a solid design anyway. So I said it was a maybe. It obviously has a market, and very limited numbers, as you say. We'll find enough people, I think.
Will bringing the heat, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, my vote was a maybe. I do like the design of it, and I do agree with most of the other people. It's a challenging piece. I love the fact that they use lab-grown diamonds, but at 100 grand, oh my gosh! I mean, what's their cheapest watch at the moment? About 2 grand. So they've got a wide spectrum of potential clientele, but it's just too much money. I love it, but it won't be on my wrist. They do a tourbillon version, which is absolutely crazy, but which is obviously going to be more expensive. This is a maybe. It's going to be less than 10 a year, as you say, probably not even that. So I love it, but it's not for me.
David, it's got diamonds on it.
It certainly does, but it's also I would go so far. For some time I've been thinking about what is the most expensive Celito equipped watch out there, and I think this answers it. It's almost cynical, honestly. To for 90,000 Swiss francs to add a Celita with an open case back, just put on a solid white gold case back, have somebody engrave it over the night or whatever. But to expose it like that, shove it in people's faces. I mean, it's an outrage to put a 100 Swiss franc movement in a 90,000 Swiss franc watch. Again, I think it's a cynical exercise. I think this would be a fun watch. Maybe, why not just sell it without the movement? I just can't make any sense of this whatsoever. If they want to show off how they can grow diamonds and apply it to a dial, which is very nicely done, by the way, I think it would go without a movement just as far to prove the point. So that hurts in a way. With a steel case for 15,000, I think this would be a great and very strong offering. Maybe 18,000, but not 100K USD.
Yeah.
No, it's
No,
just an odd exercise.
I gave this a maybe because it's got diamonds in it. It's the only acceptable Tag
Mm.
Heuer logo is one made out of diamond, although it does make it look
Mm.
increasingly like a Tudor logo, which maybe improves it. But yeah, 100 grand for a Sleeta movement is, yeah, it probably actually should be a miss, but there we go. Good stuff. Go and check that out and give us your opinions. Okay, if you're listening to this as a podcast, you're now going to miss out the next two watches. But we will see you again in a minute for our goodbyes. But if you're staying on the channel, then we are looking at this next watch, which is a Tag Heuer Aquaracer. This again is a 34 millimeter watch, but it is a Solargraph, which is Tag's coolest movement, in my opinion. Forget about your tourbillons and all the rest of it. The Solargraph is where it's at. But where do you lot all think this is at? So on the count of three, a hit, a miss, or a maybe. Ooh, we have one miss, two, three maybes, and three hits. So it's steadily getting better as we go along. Ripley, how did you vote?
I said it's a miss. They feel a little bit expensive. It's a solar tag. I obviously it's a Le Joux movement, but considering that Citizen owns Le Joux, we're basically have like the Swiss Citizen Eco Drive here. It does feel a little bit expensive for me if we're just looking for like a solar diver. Again, though, we're talking about a tag, so you're gonna go ahead and put price aside for it. Why it's a miss for me is they just kind of made these a little bit too feminine for my taste. And not just for my personal taste. I feel like they could have made a pretty open verse kind of unisex watch here, and and it's not the color. This one's pretty much it. I think they, this we're getting more feminine. Three of the five have mother of pearl dials. They clearly wanted to go feminine. It just comes down to how much diamonds you want among those three. But they clearly wanted to make these more of like larger, more modern solar women's watches rather than kind of a mid-size offering within the lineup. I think the proportions of the bracelet to the case very much make it seem more like a modernized, like larger woman's watch than kind of a mid-size offering. So it's kind of a miss for me. I feel like it could have gone in different ways and sort of filled a kind of a gap in their catalog, but this is Tag, so they may have wanted to make this a women's watch, and they're going to do one that's literally 2 millimeters bigger, later in the year. That'll be the mid-size version, and they'll give me what I wanted. But as far as this one, I feel like it was a little bit 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but they kind of ended up just making another woman's watch when it could have been something a lot more, mass market appeal, or at least something that some guys would want to wear as well.
Leslie?
It's fine. It's fine. That shape, that construction of Tag reminds me of the ones from the 80s, and I've never been that keen on them. But it's not the worst, but I don't want.
High praise indeed.
Sorry, hard to get motivation. Hard to get much motivation around this one, I'm afraid. Sorry.
No problem, Matt.
On this sort of thing.
I gave it a maybe because I think it's too feminine to be a man's watch and too masculine to be a woman's watch. But I can still see, I can appreciate the Solargraph technology, but again, the price is too high for a solar diver, but they're going in the right direction, and I sort of want to encourage that. So that's why it's my maybe.
Tag are just waiting for your encouragement, Matt. I'm sure
Yeah.
they're sitting there on tenterhooks. Will, before you start, you're on mute, but Will.
Thank you. Yeah, I said it was a hit. I really like the design of it. The dials just look just absolutely lovely, and I yeah, from a just purely aesthetic point of view, I kind of fell in love with it, and it does remind me of the tags from the 80s. But that's obviously tapping into some sort of nostalgia for me, and yeah, I'm not bothered about the size necessarily. I think a guy could get away with wearing at least one or two of them. But
At the
yeah,
same
you're right.
time.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, a mid-size one is would probably be very welcome, I think, later in the year. But at the moment, it was a hit for me.
Kevin?
For me, it's definitely a 1980s watch. I think I do have the original version of that from the 80s, or the similar version, the F1. That's what probably harks back to, and that's why I love it so much. Yes, Ripley's right. There will probably be a slightly bigger sizing for the more masculine men later in the year. Hence, this is just for females. It's a great piece. Slightly overpriced because of the movement compared to other brands, but it's a hit all day long.
Good stuff. And David?
Yeah, I'm not sure who asked for these, and why this was necessary. If I'm not wrong, they licensed the technology from Citizen through La Joux for these movements, which is an odd thing because why not just make these quartz? And I mean, I think we've all but forgotten or forgiven the 1887 fiasco, and now they license technology again from a Japanese brand. I just don't see the point. Why not just avoid that whole thing and just keep making these in quartz as they have done? These are decently made, and I don't think that they are too expensive for what they are, which is an entry into Tag Heuer. So yeah, I would see myself buying something like this as a gift or whatever. But again, the solar part of it and the price increase that ensues is just a weird combination for me.
Great stuff. Right. Final review, and this is our classic hit miss maybe. So hark yourself back to your pogo pony days as the somewhere in India, and somebody comes along and says, I've got the perfect watch for you to wear while you're playing pogo, and they hand you a time traveling G-Shock. But no, they actually hand you a Reverso, and you're used to wearing pocket watches or whatever else it is that's kicking about at the time, and somebody says, no, this is the watch you need. So you've got to put yourself in there. So we're not talking about thinking about the Reversal just now. Think about you're a watch geek back in umpty ump, and this watch comes along and you give it a vote. Do you give it a hit, a miss, or a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. Well, a double
It's
hit.
just you sabotaging it, Rick.
Just me sabotaging it. Everyone's giving it a hit except me. I think you're all lying. I think
Why?
you're all sitting. There's no way that somebody comes along and you're used to wearing whatever. I don't know what other watch. Let's say you're some Oyster Perpetual, something or t'other, or whatever it was back in the day, and somebody brings along a watch that reverses, and you go, it's just what I always wanted. Yeah, that's gonna work. Or your pole, yeah. Or you look at it, it's like snake oil. This is going to work on your polo horse and stop your watch getting broke. And you're gonna look at it and go, why would I wear a watch riding a polo horse? I don't need to know the time. I don't need to know the time.
It blows my
riding
mind.
a horse.
It flips.
Yeah.
Have you seen how it flips? It blows my freaking mind. I never thought I would live today. I mean, I could do that with a pocket watch, I guess.
You just turn over.
I mean, the
Spin it around.
the Reverso is so good. Patek Philippe made their one. You know what I mean? Like the Reverso is great. It's a great design. It's a fidget spinner and a watch. Whoa! Like people turn their Bristles, here you go. You can turn the whole watch now. There you go. You know,
listen, they used to read really long books back in the day. They didn't need fidget spinners. It's only us 20-second brain types that need fidget spinners in the 21st century.
If you're wealthy enough to be galloping through the colonies and the Commonwealth on a polo horse, you're going to be buying this watch. Back in the day,
absolutely, 100%.
No, I dispute that. You've got Jeeves alongside you, and you click
get
your
Jeeves
fingers,
to pay for it,
and he shouts the time out to you with his JLC on run this. Other
that's
opinions?
what we have now. That's what we have now. You know, the guy with the RM shouts to Jeeves, who yells the time because he can't read his RM. Like we still have that.
It's not even set.
Tennis players with Richard Meals on their wrists.
But the thing is, you can't. The whole point is, it's the wrong way round. When you actually need to use it, like if somehow you did need to use a watch while riding a polo horse, it's the wrong way round. You can't actually
You save 10
read
seconds by not having to remove it and getting it stolen or whatever. That's all
it's
about.
Guys. Yeah. Very busy guys.
Busy. Will, you look like a man that's played polo. Would you wear one of these?
You're on a tight schedule playing polo, yeah.
I went two of them. The case back
one flipped and one not, or both flipped.
Exactly. You know, whichever one it is, just try and deflect it. The case back, it's a beautiful opportunity to have beautiful engravings and artwork as well on it. It's not necessarily a hugely practical watch. It's just a beautiful watch which allows, it's just something a bit different, and it's a bit of a novelty, I suppose. And it is the fidget spinner.
So what you're all saying is that this watch's biggest pro is the fact that it doesn't tell the time, that you can put decorative art on one side, that you can turn it over. So just wear a bangle or a bracelet or a necklace or carry a painting along with you.
It's as necessary as banging a ball whilst riding a horse.
Okay, I'll take that as a valid point. A rare valid point, but a valid point nonetheless.
As someone who owns one, can I say
a polo horse or a JLC?
No, a JLC versus.
Oh, not JLC.
Both, come on, it's got both.
It is the most beautiful thing I own. It is the one thing I would save from the fire. It is.
I mean, Leslie's wearing tweed by the looks of it, so
no, I'm wearing a Paul Smith jacket actually. I bought
it
TK Maxx for 80 quid. No, honestly, it is. I didn't think I wanted. I bought it off a friend who did play polo and used to represent polo horse riders, professional ones. And she just wanted to buy another horse, so she sold me the watch so she could buy another horse. And then she died unexpectedly, young age, from a heart attack. And so I can never sell it. She would absolutely haunt me. I've shown this to random people, and they've gone, "Oh, that's gorgeous!" And the proportions of it, people just notice it. The fact that it just looks so good. I mean, it's that the golden ratio, the fact that it's rectangular, and it's got its party trick. Everyone loves the party trick.
Well, everybody loves a party trick.
Except you.
So, except me. I don't like parties. I just want to be by myself in my recording studio. Just leave me alone. So, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for listening, whether you listen to us in the podcast or whether you're on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, you've just missed Leslie's justification and Will's justification, in fact, all their justifications for why the Reverso exists. I am, taking one for the non-Reverso team, but you need to go to the YouTube channel and check that out. But it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from all of them. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.